Kathy and I hardly ever visit caravan parks. We don't like them. Unless we need to maybe do some washing. That's the main reason we'll stop in and do one, but they're not our favorite place. We don't like crowds. But if you are in northern Tasmania and you're looking for a caravan park that is in a beautiful location, the one at Bridport is pretty darn awesome. Right on the foreshore, you've got a view of the water outside your window. It's not cheap. I think you paid like 40 something for an unpowered site, but when you got to do your laundry, you got to do your laundry. This is a pretty nice view from a couple hundred meters from where we camped. Yeah. See you around, Bridport, Tasmania. You've exceeded our expectations. Now, Tasmania has, I think, 3 species of snake, all poisonous. 2 very poisonous, 1 not quite so bad. If I was a snake, a copperhead or a Tasmanian tiger snake, yeah, I would be out here sunning myself on a day just like today. So just be aware. Sometimes the places you find snakes can be very unpredictable. The ones down in Tassie here are not to be messed with. I wouldn't want them chomping on my leg. This is a national park where I'm sitting at the moment. I can't pronounce the name of it. It starts with an N. Just west of the little community of Greens Beach, which is very pretty, by the way. About 2 or 3 kilometers, there's not a single other human being in sight on this beach. Yet another reason to make sure you take some of these lesser known side tracks in Tasmania while you're cruising around. I think one area that a lot of people fall down on is they don't get underneath their vehicle very often. Have a good hard look under there and see. Just make sure that, you know, nothing's cracked, nothing's broken, nothing's starting to fall down, nothing's leaking under there. All the bolts and the bits and pieces are connected where they should be. The hoses are doing what they're supposed to be doing. You don't want to be one of those guys who's, you know, oh, crikey, looks like one of my nuts is bolted. You don't want to be that guy. Under this thing, there's a bash plate, and there's a lot of heavy-duty stuff going on. So there's pretty good protection under there from rocks and odds and ends. We don't go nutso going stupid tracks. We tend to, you know, err on the side of safety rather than insanity. Check your tire pressures, make sure they're cool. This thing runs on about what do we have on these guys? I think, yeah, it's about 50 psi in the front, and then we got, yeah, 5 extra psi or so in the back. Summer and the beginning of autumn in Tassie's been pretty dry this year, so there's a lot of fire restrictions in a lot of places. Do the right thing with fires. Don't light them if you're not supposed to light them. But if you need a fire pit, this one's not a bad one. Darch or Darche, I'm not sure how you pronounce that one, but so once you've got that attached to the base. This guy lives in here. And then your screen goes on there, and you've got different levels. Make sure the levels are even. Something like that. Look about right? Yeah, pretty close. And that's it. Then you can grill on there. Gotta love the long sunsets in Tasmania this time of year. This river in front of me here is the Mersey. It's pretty high up, so it's a fairly pristine section of it. Sometimes you get lucky, like we have, and you have day after day of beautiful sunshine. You spend your day on a quiet, secluded river with nobody else around. You've always had a good day. Quite impressive. Quality of the track. Good workout too. Probably try to make it to Black River in the northwest today. See how we go. It's not very long. It's funny when you're used to traveling the distances in mainland Australia, where you think, oh, I gotta get up early in the morning and drive for 6 hours to get somewhere. In Tassie, every place is kind of 45 minutes away from where you already are. We've been sitting in vehicles for many days, so yeah, good hard walk that won't hurt us, I don't think. Those that live in Tasmania tell me that the state is a little bit slow to start its summer, but late in finishing it. Today's a classic example. It's March the 10th, and it's supposed to be 28 degrees today. Gotta love that. When you're coming down the west coast from Smithton, Kuta Rocks is kind of the end of the seaside joints, and then you start going inland from there. Western Explorer so far is quite a good road. A couple little potholes, nothing too serious. We've been doing probably a good 60 k's an hour. This has been a nice little campsite. Donaldson River. It's free, but there's only space for really 2, maybe 3 if you were extremely friendly vehicles in there. I think I read recently something about this part of Tasmania having like the most extensive section of temperate rainforest still left on the planet. You have a look behind me here. It's easy to believe. Free camps can be good, and free camps can be bad. This is one of the good ones. This area between Donaldson River and Corinna is absolutely burnt to a crisp. There's still smoke rising up out of the valley there. It's pretty thick, but it's been like, I think 3 weeks maybe since this stuff was all burned, and yeah, there's no little happy green shoots sprouting up or anything like that. It's just, yeah, it's a bit of a tree graveyard in here at the moment. It shows you how extensive it was. There were really high winds at the time, and it just, yeah, really swept through here in a big hurry. It's supposed to be 30-40 mil of rain in the next couple of days. That should help a little bit, but this thing's been just smoking for weeks, man. It's sad to see huge areas of bush in a beautiful part of Australia, down here in Tassie, is burnt to a crisp. I'm also very intrigued by the optimism of the road engineers in this country. They do an excellent job repairing roads and fixing these areas up, but like there's a 45 degree hairpin turn there and a bit of a 20-degree angled climb, and there's an 80 km/h sign over here. It's like, what? There most certainly are parts of the Western Explorer road that you can do at 80 km/h, but a lot of it should be done at about 40 km/h instead, like that person just behind me is doing. A little bit of smoke still hanging around in the drizzle. If you are a huge, heavy, monstrously ginormous rig, I wouldn't be on this road in the first place. We have seen, I think, maybe 1 or 2 caravans, not terribly huge ones, on this road, but yeah, I don't know if I'd recommend it. But anyway, to each his own. You're all adults, make your own decisions. Just be aware of the weight limits on this road. And if you are going to try to tackle it with a 2-wheel drive, which many people do, it's preferable, I would say, to have a 6-cylinder vehicle rather than a tiny little Yaris or Fiat or something, yeah, that's not got quite as much oomph, because you do have some inclines and some windy bits. I'll have to get the pack raft out the next time I come to Corinna in the Tasman River, because it is very conducive to paddling. They do have a little boat ramp here for tinnies and such, and another separate boat ramp, believe it or not, for kayaks. The Tasman River here at Corinna has a pretty rich and interesting history. They log Huon pine many ships were lost in the old days. I think the first pining boat that ever came to Pieman River, they wrecked and they had to walk like 120 kilometers over pretty horrible terrain for 19 days or something. And they had, yeah, a few potatoes in a sack was their only provisions. Not a bad view to wake up to. Very hard to be stealthy and quiet on a Tasmanian beach sometimes. We're just on the little track, I think it's 800 meters, that goes to a place called the Air Shaft, just a big deep hole, part of the whole coal mine's historical site. And the history is pretty interesting, but I'm far more interested in this. This is a snake track, and there's a lot of snake tracks through here. Even though it's late March, today's about 19, 20 degrees, something like that. Not very windy. As soon as the wind picks up, the soft sand gets blown all over the place and the tracks will disappear. But this would be a good 2.5 meter something, tiger snake, or maybe a copperhead, something like that. Not too many choices for snakes in Tassie. But yeah, it makes you stop and think about, yeah, looking where you're putting your feet when you're walking around these places. That's a big one. The coal mines historic settlement on the Tasman Peninsula. There's some pretty grim isolation cells and things in there. That's a B&B. Really sucks. It's probably a B without the B. Probably didn't get any breakfast at all. Let there be a lesson to them. Don't visit Tasmania in 1848. The tourism sector has not been developed very well yet. Tasman Peninsula probably has the most underrated beaches in all of Tasmania. Last week of March, and I'm in my t-shirt out here at about 7 p.m. and that's my view. When people talk about the attractions of Tasmania, and they list all the touristy places that everybody goes, Cradle Mountain and Mount Field and Bicheno and the Bay of Fires and etc., Port Arthur. They're all fine places. I've been to all of them, I think. Yeah. But it's really the places that aren't in the brochures that really make this place what it is.